Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nandi Bros podcast. I'm Partha.
And I'm Sean. Partha, can you believe that this is the 22nd episode?
I know, isn't that crazy? It's like amazing.
And our 22nd episode is extra special because we're sitting with someone who actually helped make this amazing studio possible.
Mrs. Karamanos.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Yeah.
So exciting.
So I know there's a lot of people who get your name wrong. So how do you say your last name?
Oh, that's such a good question. So we say Karamanos.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people, and you guys have probably heard it pronounced the other way, they say
Yeah.
Karamanos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We
A
say
lot of
Karamanos.
times.
Well,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what, sometimes, I have 4 sons, and sometimes I even hear them saying Karamanos, because I think they're so used to other people saying it wrong that sometimes they just give in and they say Karamanos too. But it's
Okay, yeah.
supposed to be Karamanos.
Okay, yeah.
Is it Greek?
It is Greek.
That's
what I thought,
yes,
yeah.
It sounded
yes.
Greek.
My
Okay.
husband is Greek, and in fact, this is kind of a fun little fact. My 4 sons are all dual citizens, Greek and American.
Oh, that is
No,
awesome.
that's really
Kind of
cool.
fun,
Wow,
right?
That is really
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, as Vishan said before, you helped create these studios, and so it's incredible that you helped make this studio and the XR studio down there. Yeah, and that's right. This incredible DCDS podcast studio and the XR studio right down there wouldn't even exist without you. And her generosity has given students like us a place to be creative, collaborative, and dream big.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, so please welcome Mrs. Danialle Karamanos.
Well, thank you for having me, guys. I'm
Yeah, you're welcome.
really excited to be here. It's really an honor. You guys are doing a great job, and I'm really excited for this conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Mrs. Karamanos, we just wanted to say thank you because, as we said before, because we wouldn't be able to start our own podcast without your amazing donation, and we hope that when we grow up, we'll be able to help as many people as you do.
Oh, that's so
really
sweet.
helpful.
Thank you.
So, can you please tell us, why did you think of this idea, help students be able to create and tell stories? Like, how did you come up with that idea?
Oh, that's such a great question. Well, I worked in production for a long time before I was married and had kids. I was a video producer and director. I studied journalism at college. My college degree is in journalism, but it's technically in electronic journalism. Yeah, so back then, that's what we called kind of working in production. And
Yeah.
I loved working in production.
Yeah.
And I met some amazing people who really changed my life. And I had amazing internships. And in fact, I was just talking to one of my former bosses the other day because my first internship was at the Channel 4 station, and it was in sports. And I didn't really know much about sports at the time, but it was the only internship available. So when the woman was interviewing me, she asked me if I would be interested in a sports internship. And I said, "Oh, I love sports." So I got the internship, and then suddenly I had to learn a lot about sport.
Yeah.
And so one of the sports I was going to be covering was hockey. And now my family's very involved in hockey, but back then I had to go buy myself a book called Hockey for Dummies because I didn't know anything, but I thought, well,
That's really funny.
I will just fake it until I make it, and I'll just show up every day, and I'll work really hard, and I'll learn production, and the rest will fall into place. And it did. And for 10 years, I traveled around the world, and I worked my dream job. So, here at Country Day, fast forward all these years, and we're known for our arts and our athletics, right?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
And all kinds of stuff. And I felt like the film department here is really exceptional, and not a lot of people know about it, and we didn't have a ton of equipment. So one day I was walking through with Mr. Dempsey, and it just kind of, the idea came out of nowhere, and I said, hey, what if we built a studio?
Yeah.
What if we created this really amazing space for these students who are so smart and so talented? And that was it. And then, as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, so you have received numerous awards for your community service and philanthropy, like the American Heart Association and the Boys and Girls Clubs, as well as Women in Leadership. So you're someone who could really do anything you wanted to. So why philanthropy, and what made giving back such an important part of your life?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really deep question.
It is a very deep question.
Yeah, I know. I like it. I like these questions. I think I have always been a person who has wanted to help other people. I think thinking back to when I was your age, I was very, very curious, and I wanted to learn a lot about different things. I was class president.
Yeah.
I wanted to just explore and learn, and I wanted to see how I could help people. And as I got older and I was introduced to more people and more experiences, I continued to be curious, and I continued to look for ways that I could keep helping people. I often say I bloom where I'm planted, which means
that's like, does it
you
mean,
like that?
Yeah, that is really awesome. Right, yeah,
So
continue.
that kind of means that, I do have intentions and I have goals, but at the same time in my life, I try to leave a lot of space to let things happen organically, because I think some of the best things in my life and some of the things that have helped people the most came from sometimes painful moments, or sometimes moments that I didn't expect at all.
Yeah.
One example would be I started a program called the Cuddlers, and adults.
Yeah, our dad told us about that.
Oh, he
Yeah,
did?
he did.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And so adults go into hospitals and they hold babies who might be all by themselves. And I started that because my son Leo had something called appendicitis, and he had to have emergency surgery. And while he was in the hospital, I was able to stay with him, and we heard so many babies crying in the middle of the night. We wondered why, and we found out that they were alone. So that's just an example where, if someone had said, do you want your son to be suffering? Because that's where you're going to come up with this great idea. I probably would have said no, but we happened to have been in that moment, and I was just curious, and I was looking around, and I was thinking, I see a problem. What can I do to make a difference?
Yeah, that's great. And Sean said about something your program that our dad told us about. Another one he told us about, and he's super inspired by, is your Danialle Karamanos Kids Work It Out program. Can you tell us about that?
Sure.
It's really an awesome program.
Thank you. So, gosh, it was about a little over 20 years ago. I love the news. I'm I call a news junkie. I love to read the news. I follow the
That's
news.
funny.
I'm always learning and learning and reading and reading. And I was reading more and more about the epidemic of childhood obesity, meaning people about a little over 20 years ago were really starting to talk about how in our country we really had a challenge, an opportunity around kids not making healthy choices around exercise and eating. And I thought, maybe I can do something about that.
Yeah.
Now, at that time, I had never started a nonprofit. I didn't know anything about it. And sometimes, as adults, we say ignorance is bliss, which means sometimes it's better to not know how hard something is before you do it, right?
Yeah.
And so I just jumped in to do it. But I also knew that if I was working with kids, I believe very strongly there's no room for error, which means you can't mess around when you're working with kids, right? You want to be very protective of you guys and anybody around us and the kids we were working with. So we started doing some studies and started collecting data, and we were introducing different activities to the kids in Detroit. And what was surprising to many people, I didn't think it was that surprising, is that the kids in Detroit really, really loved yoga. And and we realized that a lot of the kids that we were working with had a lot of stress in their life. They had stress at school, they had stress with maybe crime in the area. We found out they also had stress from a lot of stray dogs where they lived, where it wasn't safe to walk to school, it wasn't safe to go outside and play. But we found with yoga, we gave them a yoga mat, and they could take that yoga mat in a bedroom, in a bathroom, and they didn't need a lot of space, but on the yoga mat, they could be still and they could feel safe and they could be calm and they could just kind of have a moment to collect themselves and have the awareness to make healthy choices.
Oh, that's great.
That's really great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like when you were a kid like us, what did you dream about? Because like we're right now, we have our Socktober event, and we've been like kind of manifesting and dreaming about that. And so, what did you dream, or what did you think, or how did you think your life would play out when you were our age?
Oh, that's such a great question.
Oh, thank you.
I think, It kind of goes back to what we were saying a little bit earlier, that you set goals and you have dreams, and then you work really, really, really hard, and you put out good karma, right? Which means you make good choices. Make good choices. You always, I believe very strongly that most important priorities are to treat other people well, right? Work hard, and always protect your integrity. Right?
Those are great rules.
Right?
It sounds like what Country Day talks about.
Yeah. And it's so true. So you guys make good choices, and then you have to surround yourself with people who make good choices.
Yes.
Right?
Because you are like what you're around, basically.
You 100%, and you're going to be, you're going. And it's a fine line, because you want to help people who maybe aren't making good choices, but you have to find that balance where you're also protecting your integrity. Because let's say you're making a bunch of good choices, and then you're hanging out with people who aren't, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're still making good choices, people are going to assume that you're not.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you're associated with those people.
That's exactly right. And so you really want to, I think in life, you want to always try and surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. You want to always be curious about people. You want to always just keep asking good questions. My husband always says that when Einstein would leave for school each day, his mom would never say, "Have a good day." She would always say, "Ask good questions."
Ooh, that's great, because if you ask questions, you'll learn more.
Yep.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think when I was a kid, I was just always important to me, even back then, to try and do good work and be curious, and I would set goals, but I would also leave a space for the unknown, because like we were saying earlier, in many ways, my life is bigger and better than I ever could have imagined. And I very strongly believe that is because God, the universe, has kind of rewarded me for making good choices.
That's great. It's like, as you said before, good karma.
Yeah, good karma.
Yep.
Amazing weekend trip to New York City. It looks so fun. 4 shows, 36 hours in the Big Apple. How fun. So for those listeners that don't know, you have 4 sons that travel over the globe. And what's it like traveling with your boys? And what do you think they learned from all those adventures?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're a lot of fun to travel with. I love to travel. So I think from the time that they were little, we were always on the go. In fact, Kai, the youngest, when he was born, he was a very big baby. He weighed almost 11 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, babies are not usually that big. And we actually took him to a conference, this big family conference, when he was 5 days old.
Oh, geez.
So I know. And so at 5 days old, he was on an airplane. He was at an event. And so I think they've always been used to being on the go. When they were little, it was, I don't want to say harder because it was so much fun, but it was a little bit more challenging because there were so many things, right? Like car seats and strollers, and there were just a lot of pieces. Now it's a little bit easier because they can carry their own stuff. But they're a lot of fun, and they're also curious, and they love adventure. So we have a good time wherever we go.
Yeah, that's great. Like as we said before, you're a businesswoman, a philanthropist, and a mom. So we have 3 boys at our house, and it's pretty busy. So how do you do it with 4, and you just keep it all going together? You're a businesswoman, philanthropist, and a mom. How do you keep it all going?
Oh, well, I think I just get up and I set my goals for the day. Well, let me see. I wake up early every day, and I exercise. I journal and I meditate every morning. I think that's very, very important for me, and that's where I kind of ground myself for the day, right? I think like with any situation, if you just kind of run right into it, it's going to be a little extra crazy.
Yeah.
If you kind of like step back, you take a deep breath, and you're like, I've got this.
Yeah.
And then you step into it, it's going to go a little bit smoother. There might still be some challenges, but you feel more equipped to handle it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big part of my day.
Yeah, I typically went in the morning, like say I have it was a stressful before because I had a math test or something. You just you take a deep breath and you just think of all the positive things, and then go into your day, and then since it's the morning, and you'll go into your day as very positively, and then you'll end up having a nice day.
Yes.
So it's really great.
Very true.
So, okay, Mrs. Karamanos, before we let you go, we always finish with the fun would you rather question. So, are you ready?
Really
I
exciting.
think I am. My boys love these questions.
Really? Oh yeah,
Lay it
would
on
you
me.
rathers are awesome. All
Yeah,
right,
they're really
so
awesome.
would you rather have unlimited time to keep helping others, or unlimited time to chase your dreams and travel around the world with your family? Now, this is a hard one.
That
We
is
came
a
up with this
very
one.
hard one.
It's really hard because you do both.
Yeah,
You do both.
my first thought was it's like a combination because, running around the world with my family and, having the awareness of what's going on around the world is where I get the ideas to help people. So I think I would just have to do a mashup and say both. And I know you can't say both, but I think I would have to.
Choosing or.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's that, as I said, that's a really hard one. So
That was a pretty deep question.
it
My
was
boys'
very deep,
question, either ors are like, would you rather eat like a pizza with flies on it or like a moldy hot dog? You guys are very sophisticated. I
know,
appreciate
we were
you.
trying to think of a good, nice, juicy one. So thank you so much for joining us. We had a great time interviewing you. I'm so glad that you were able to come.
You guys are doing a really great job. I'm really proud of both of you. You're really
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us today and everything you've done for DCDS and all the students who will use the studio. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've, as I said before, you've inspired us to dream big, give back, and make a difference in the world. And it's really inspiring. So
Well,
thank you.
You guys, I will just say, are exactly what I dreamed of. Having not
thank
even
you.
met you guys, right? This is where you have to leave room for the unknown.
Yeah.
But when I had this dream of, students who would come in and be curious and start conversations, you guys are exactly who I was building it for and what I was dreaming of. And
Thank you so much.
exactly
Thank you so
what you're
much.
doing is even more and better than I could have hoped for.
Well, thank you. Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
making it so we could do that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you for listening, everybody. And please subscribe to the Nandi Bros podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, so this has been the Nandi Bros podcast recorded right here in the amazing DCS pod. Thanks to Danialle Karamanos.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.